Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Right here, this is our 1971 bus that the owners affectionately called Moonbeam. So, with that out of the way, if you watch the channel, I went into a little more detail of it. But anywho, this hopefully should be the last episode. If not, we might have a little short episode after this one. But this is the last major thing that has to be done, other than some odds and ends that I've just been, procrastinating on finishing up. We put EPS in it, we did the dual carbs, all that stuff's done. This one, we are putting in air conditioning. So if you're wondering why I put in a 90 amp alternator, some of you might have guessed it because it wasn't a sound system. It's for this reason. It's an electric air conditioning unit. It gets mounted like, electric compressor, so on and so forth. It's not belt driven, all that. But you need the power to run the damn thing. You need a 90 amp. I think you can get away with like a 60, but you're like pushing everything else. 90, at least you can grow a little bit. So we did that. We have a 90 amp alternator in the car. The very first episode, that's one of the main things that we did. And now we get to put in the air conditioning. So got to mount the compressor somewhere. Got to mount the condenser. Is it the condenser? Yeah, condenser somewhere. The box unit, all the lines, all the hardware. And no, I'm not mounting this traditionally. Already told the owners it is not going under the dash, just because, well, number one, they look stupid under the dash, to be honest with you. Number two, the cost you'll have routing all the lines and everything will be astronomical. It'll be almost as much as the system, if not more. Plus, you got to go with my labor and making lines. I don't make lines. You can hose clamp them, but I don't like it because they eventually blow out. And the last thing you want is a blowout inside the cab. Digressing, regressing. Let's start in the back and I guess start figuring out where this stuff is going to go. Yeah, because the compressor's still going to go in the engine bay. All right, join me in the back. All right, guys, first thing, compressor. Like I said, it's an AC unit. It's, I'm not gonna say exactly like your typical belt-driven compressor, but it's pretty much exactly like your typical belt-driven compressor. And here is your scroll or, multi-piston thing to do compressor anything, and a motor somewhere. Assuming the motor's over here. That's about all the science specs I have for you on this one. But you have your low pressure, high pressure, low pressure. You have your two line sets either side of it instead of coming out the tops or the bottoms like a GMT HT6 or something like that. Should put the bus up a little higher because I keep hitting my head on a hood. That should be out of my way. But what all you got to do, you got power, signal wires, comes in the kit. It's already pre-wired, stuff like that. But I am going to mount this thing over here because I think that gives me the best area to mount it down and run my line set. These are prefabricated lines. It's just a kit you can get off of Amazon, eBay, stuff like that. They're relatively inexpensive. But the problem is you're doing a slight trade. The kits I use have a not detonated, pre-stopped end, pre-terminated end to it. So the line set you get is the line set you have. Now, yes, if you need it shorter, you can cut the ferrule off, hose clamp and stuff like that. Use an injection clamp if you're doing that. I don't. I just find the run that I need, and then we'll just hide the extra hose, which is fine. Just make it look not shit, I guess is what I'm getting at. So I think the plan is compressor is going to be mounted about here. lines will go through the wheel well because there's a ton of room on these things. Because you can't go through the back wall because you got, well, a fuel tank. But on these, yeah, let's go up some. But on buses, at least, because this is just, it's not, you know, slammed or anything like that. You have a ton of room up in the fender well. So if I come through here, I can cheat and go through there and just, you know, whoop, hug it along the top and call it good. Because like I said, I don't have access to go that way. And I don't want to, I mean, thinking sucks. I don't want to go through the spare tire well, obviously, because spare tire. I can go under it. There is room underneath it. And I might be able to get my 2 lines. Let me drop this thing, see where the bus comes from, or see where the bottom of that well is, to see if I want to run lines that way. Huh. Moral dilemma now. Because I need, yeah, 2 in. The other line I already just have draped under there. That's where the, that's going to come up. But I need 2 in for the condenser or for the evaporator, for the blower motor that's in there. And then under the car, you got to mount the condenser and the fan. And that goes up. No, we just have 1 line coming back. Yeah, I just need to make 1 line come back. It needs a low pressure coming back, or the high pressure coming back. 1 of the lines has to come back. So if I have enough room to get that line that's on the floor, that line through the bulkhead, there, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm overcomplicating this in my head. Let me lower the, see where that wheel comes out, and I'll get back to you with what plan I think now we're planning. The big stuff is, or the big thing is, also I'll just mount this, because that is where the compressor is going to live. I already made my own executive decision on that. I could mount it under the bus, other places, but you know, it's noisy back here. Engine, we'll just hide it. It's fine. Plus it's rubber isolated. It's not, you're not going to really hear it anyway. Also, I did put a deep cycle in this thing already, so it does have a new battery. Yeah, let me see what I'm doing. I'll be back. All right, guys, looking at it, my initial guess is correct. We're going through the fender well. Overall, it's gonna be cleaner. Damn it, not so much easier, but more clean. So, let's see. I might have to mount the compressor the other way. So we didn't mount it yet, because I do not want to stress the lines. This one can come up from hell wherever, I don't care, and connect. This one I just want it to be a straight shot, well, as straight as it can along that tub. So I don't want to put like an S-bend or anything into it. I'll do that in there. But yeah, where the blower unit is going, it's going to be rear AC. So it's going to be mounted under the kick panel. There's the blower motor. It's going to be all there and just blow forward. Like I said, it's just to me, it's a cleaner install than trying to shove that. And if you've seen them on buses, I really don't like them under the dash. And then you have your lines and everything else, and there's a lot of math and science to put it in to make it look right and function correctly. And then even at that case, it's blowing. If you have a passenger, it's going to be blowing directly into their face, and they're going to hate life. So, and you won't get any cool air. So if you never plan on having a passenger, mount it up here. If you plan on having a passenger, mount it back there, especially if you have a kick panel. But those blower motors, the blowers work good. They'll move enough air. Like I said, I told them It's not going to get, you know, the bus to Arctic levels, but you will be able to tolerate driving it in, well, you can tell the moisture on my face, this kind of weather. So yeah, basically where that box is right here. I'm going to go through the fender well, run the line, through the fender well this way, run the line, because that's going to go to our EVAP box, and then the EVAP box is going to have a line that goes from there down to the condenser, and then the condenser is going to have the high pressure line or low pressure line, whatever pressure line it is, a smaller line from the fan unit to the compressor. So yeah, there's three lines. You have to figure out where they're going in first, and then you can kind of just start putting stuff where it needs to be. But I'm going to punch some holes in the body and send that line, the bigger line, through into the cab. Like I said, this one's already down there, but I don't want to do any hole drilling yet till I know where it's going to mount, because that's going to mount to our condenser or compressor. It's going to mount to the radiator that goes under the car. So let me drill some holes and I'll be right back. All right, guys, change of plan. I want to mount, get under there, the condenser unit, or at least locate it, because I know I'm going to need some fab work. Perfect. Yeah, I at least want to get this mounted, because I know, like I said, we got to run lines, we got to run everything else, and so I know where everything's going to go pretty much completely to a certain extent. I'm going to run this. That is our high pressure. Skinny's high pressure, I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that. But this guy, I don't have enough hands. This guy's gonna mount right here. So I'm gonna pick up these two backs right away. Yes, it does hang down from the vehicle, but unfortunately, you're really limited in where you can place this thing. So there's enough room there to suck the fan up, or suck air through there. I'll put a little, I don't know, skid plate, bumper. I'll put something on the front so that like this won't hit anything, but you're not, unless you run over something really big and awkward, you're not gonna have a problem under here. Because you don't have front flowing air, so you can't mount it in the front of the car, in front of the rad like you typically would. And there's really, unless you're mounting, you can't mount it anywhere, I guess is what I'm getting at. I could do, if this was in for like body work or something like that, I could kind of get away from, or I could get away with mounting it on the engine louver side, this side, and I have it draw in that way. But also, you got to remember, if I'm drawing in, I'd have to turn this into a pusher, which means I can evacuate the air that's in there, and then you start screwing up a whole bunch of stuff as far as cooling. You might run cool, might run hot, so on and so forth. But that would be the only other viable place to put it, would be on the inside of the engine bay on the vent side. But as of right now, this is where it's going. So let me drill some holes, nut cert it, mount this, and then for the forward half, I only have one bracket on it right now. But the forward half, I'm gonna run a piece of angle straight across and mount it to that. And it'll double sort of like a kick, I guess, or a stopper plate. Let me get the rear mounted first, because this is all just kind of mock-up. Yeah, and I'll just run a piece of angle straight across to pick up all that. But yeah, this is really the only place you can mount it. So let me get the nut starting. I'll be right back. I might mount that piece of angle too and show you the aftermath. Hard to film under here. Pretty dark, obviously. I'm in spooky angle. filter. All right. I have a mild plan. Sucks, but I have a mild plan. All right, guys, status update. This is what I got going on in here so far. All right, the lines. They're blown through the firewall, you know, the rear firewall. Don't worry, they'll be taped and grommeted. But they're attached, loosely fitted to the box. The box, we're still going to have to drill holes, obviously, in the front kick plate so that, you know, we can, whoa, blurry, so that venting will happen. But in here, it's basically ran the way I'd want it to. The extra line, not a big deal. We'll secure it where we need to secure it. Kind of the beauty about working in there, I have plenty of space to hide the line. Well, between there and under the car. All right, under the car. Oh, grab my chair. All right, as far as under the car goes, this is what we have going on. Condenser, whatever. It's mounted. I gotta put shims in here, just the way it sits, fan body hits, so it's a little cattywampus, but that is as tight as it goes up. It is obviously, I don't know, hanging down some, but it's a bus, it has ground clearance. If it was a Beetle, you'd have huge issues. Also, you'd be mounting it directly to your floor pan, but that should be fine. Again, I got a fan harness there. Again, the lines are hooked up just loosely, so that's running there, that's running there. They're tucked up, running where they need to go, or how they need to go. Coming through there, looping around, soft loops. This, I think that's the low, whatever. This line, hold on. What's that? Hi. Okay, so yeah, the big line's the low pressure. That we can just stick wherever we need to stick. Oh, is that why we're focusing weird? Because there's hair in the lens? We just got to stick that wherever we need to stick it. Like I said, all the lines are just loosely fitted right now. What I need to do is what I said I was going to do kind of at the beginning, but didn't, mount the compressor. It's still going to live where it's going to live. I got plenty of line to put it wherever I need to as far as that goes. But you can also see how limited I am in the line, even though this is basically, you can shove this under a Chevy, you know, like, well, my Oldsmobile. There's plenty of room to retrofit it. The problem being is to be able to go, at least on a Volkswagen, from all the way in the front of the vehicle, all the way to basically where that is, the condenser, and still mount the compressor. The compressor, at that point, your line length, you'd be limited because you're limited on the box to return. Right? Is that it? Basically what I'm getting at is you're limited halfway. So halfway of your system is wherever the condenser is goes to the box. Anyway, you're limited on line length. Just leave it at that. Quit talking. Gotta drill another hole to run this up, boop, where it needs to go. I don't know where the cap went. Run that up where that needs to go, and we'll be good there. The inside one's all there, but I gotta mount that compressor to mount everything. Like I said, it's just gonna drill some holes, pop it in right there, call it good. And we'll attach this line set. Then we get to move on to my favorite thing ever, electrical. The electric, I'm gonna have to, because obviously the unit is designed to basically be within so many feet of, or the wires that are on are designed to be within so many feet of where it is. Going to the battery, not an issue. Going to the compressor, not an issue. I have to lengthen the wires, the actual control wires that go from the, basically the head unit, tail unit in this case, all the way forward to the dash. So I'm gonna have to drill holes in the dash, not a big deal. I'll just put it next to whatever, it'll be on the passenger side of it. There's a nice bar, I'll show you what I'm going on about. But yeah, we'll just punch holes, put it in. That's not a big deal. And obviously, like I said, once it's all together, wrap everything, grommet everything, make sure no chafing. Because if you blow a line, well, you'll know it. It's not gonna be good. But all right, let me mount the compressor, then drill a hole for where the high pressure is supposed to be, mount that up, and then I think we should be pretty good. And like I said, this line, wherever it ends up, I can just mount it up here. There's plenty of room to keep it out of the way. So not really worried. Yeah, sorry I haven't been recording a lot of this because a lot of it's just kind of figuring it out. Yeah, you can probably see. It doesn't hang down that far. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Nothing that if you do like 200 miles an hour over a speed bump, you might get it, but normal driving, you won't hit that. Like I said, I might make a bumper on it just because the accumulator for it is built onto the unit and it's right in front. So I'm not sure. Probably not going to do anything. I still have to mount that bar. Oh, I got to show you the bar. When we go under it, I'll show you the bar. When I'm tightening everything. Did I leave that flashlight on under? Yeah. I don't need it under there anymore. For right now, we're done. But all right, let me get this compressor mounted and move on to, I guess, the next step, which I guess it's running electrical. But yeah, like I said, compressor is just going to live over in that corner. And low pressure line, high pressure line, I just got to drill up to run that high pressure and we'll be good there. Slowly but surely, it's coming together. It's really not that bad. It's just, well, for me currently, it's not that bad due to the fact that, well, going through this bus between the EPS and this, that, and the other thing, I kind of know where I want to put things at this point. So it's just, is my face that dirty? Wow. So me at this point is just knowing or just executing the plan that I've already thought of, I guess is what I'm getting at. Perfect timing. All right, let me mount this compressor. Loosely fit the high and low, and yeah, I guess we'll move on to electrical because I got to send power from the box to back here, from the compressor to the battery, and like I said, I think I already said this or showed this. Deep Cycle Marine, it really helps with that, or it won't tax a normal battery, I guess is what I'm getting at. I don't know what I'm getting at. I'll be back. All right, guys, I got updates. Many things have happened. I didn't record because I have my tree guy here again, and it sounded like a baboon walking all over the roof. But anywho's and ways, I forgot to cut a zip tie. Shabby installation on my end. What am I thinking? Why do I get paid for these repairs? Clip. There you go. Get a pair of flush cuts. So you don't cut yourself open. All right, anyway. I don't know if you can see up in there. Lines are ran out of the rear bulkhead. Power wires are also ran out. They all chase up and they go up through that hole. Nothing's touching, so that's good. I got to throw basically, insulator around that. Compressor's mounted. I'll show you what I did with the electrical thus far. The compressor is wired in, minus the main power to the battery. And also all the hoses are loose. Because I don't know if I got to move anything. All right, inside, engine bay wise, is what we got going on besides a huge mess. I still got to put drains on this thing. All right, compressor, like I said, it's wired up. What I'm doing, well, you wire it, obviously, follow your instructions. Damn it, stop pushing buttons, dumb fingers. Stop. Good. Okay. Anyway, power wire, it goes all the way across. That'll go to your battery, ground as well. It also has an isolated power and ground, so it's getting fed right off the battery. As far as connectors go, this guy wired in a relay. Doesn't come with the kit, but because I'm robbing on power off the coil, I didn't want to stress the ignition circuit, lack of better terms. So basically all it's going to do is turn on, click the relay. It will also rob power from the compressor for the relay, and then the relay is going to run the basically forward to tell this thing what to do. Like I said, If I can add a relay, I will, because it's going to lessen the load on the actual electrical circuit. Like I said, you can see the positive. You got reverse lights, ignition in, 12 volt stuff. I don't want to push the factory electrical, in other words. So if I don't have to, I'm not going to, especially since I had power and ground and all that good stuff right there. So that's all good. Lines are ran. High pressure, or sorry, low pressure is the only pressure I can get to. High pressure is really tight in there, and I ain't getting the gauge. I'll tell you this much, you're not getting a gauge on it. It's damn near on that light. But that's how it is. You can charge it and you can check pressures as long as you don't need it for diagnostic purposes. You really don't need the high. You can just charge through the low. Inside, slower the car some more. Inside, I'll show you where I'm at, and I guess tell you where I'm going, because it's just more electrical. That's good enough. This car's gonna have to go up. All right, inside. This is what we got going on. Oh, getting old. That's fine. We got, woo! Focus. Focus on something. There we go. All right, this is what we got going on under here. The box, so the refrigerator, unit, whatever, that's in there. Lines are coming up. They're just, you can tell, they're just in there. I had plenty of room to hide stuff, so that's fine. This is your, going to be, you know, your, what, on, off, 1, 2, 3, 4s, and that's your temperature control. If you use air conditioner, it's always on, you know, as much as possible. I doubt anyone's going to regulate it, but what I'm going to have to do with this is cut this here, run these guys all the way to the dash next to that, the frost knob. I don't know if you can see it, the green knob under the glove box, and tie it in there. And, you know, drill holes, mount these 2 switches there. And then that'll feed the on-off power to this unit back there. Also, I'm going to have to punch holes in the kick to get the vents in. Which, these guys are what I'm going with. So, they are adjustable. You can spin them, you can divert them, whatever. You can point them where you would want them to go, in other words. So, let me start cutting wires. Gotta find my gender neutral freaking pliers to do stuff, or Subarus, I guess they're called nowadays. I don't know. I know them as dikes. Anywho, I'll probably get demonetized now. Cut those. I'll run a wire. Also, interesting known fact. Oh shit, don't even know where I put it now. No. I pulled it out. Oh, it's on the floor. Interesting known fact. This unit, with the exception of the black wire, trail hitch wiring, if you're, you know, 6-pin connector, exact same color codes that they're running in that is in this, with the exception they run a brown instead of a black. So also makes a nice clean installation. You run it from where you're going to where you're going. It's all in one jacket, and you're not pulling 6 wires forward. Really easy tech tip, or really easy hack to run a bunch of wires. If you can find a harness with the wires you need, run it. I mean, I have spools. I mean, also it's pretty much dirt cheap. You just, I mean, you can run that and be fine. It's all together. But also, if you need, I mean, these spools are cheap. You can buy it, slice off what you need, pull off what you need. If you need multiple colors, you got a couple colors in there to choose from, instead of buying spools. And don't get me wrong, if you want to buy spools, you can buy spools. But in my experience, I never really just need one wire. I need usually 2 or 3 to run somewhere. And I'll just, you know, take the rainbow and figure it out after there. Also, you might have seen when I ran the power to there, they come in harnesses too. You can get pretty much any color you want at this point. But I ran the black and red for primary power all the way back. So let me cut some stuff, mount some stuff, run some wires. We'll run wires first. I'm going to solder them all together, throw them under the car, run them just kind of how I did with the EPS unit. And oh yeah, it's black now. That was fun. So it's all one color. And yeah, this is what I was saying. I'm just going to punch it because I got access under here. There's nothing under here. Just going to punch it, boop, boop, put the temperature control. the temperature control and the other thing in there. Let's close that. Blower speed. And like I said, the reason I'm running it off of, like, I can directly hot wire it so that it'll run all the time. But the problem is if you're going to turn it off, you're going to drain your battery. So that's why I'm opting to run it this way. So you turn the key off, it'll kill the relay, it'll kill the system. Which ideally is what you want. You don't want to be able to run it, crap. You don't really want to run it independently. So let me start mounting stuff, running some wire, and I guess I'll get back to you. It is warm. But progress is being made. All right, guys, status update. Late night last night, mounting stuff and doing the wiring. Not a big deal. It's the next day. We're getting really close to firing this thing up. Well, the coolant system. Cooling. Air conditioning. You tell it's early. Anyway, switches are mounted there. Like I said, right next to that. Speed control. Temperature control. So it's... that has to be a factory location for a switch, because I just so damn near happened to metaphorically poop a brick when I went to go drill a hole in the dash, because as soon as my bit went to cut it, it plunged. So I found a factory hole. I guess there's one here too. I don't know if the light will pick up, but yeah, I was a little worried. But yeah, all the wires, again, they're ran up there. Everything back here is soldered. Oh, getting old. Everything back here is in and soldered. If focus. So, next thing I have to do is, oh, and I did blind myself. That's good. I made because I was just going to drill and put those vents in. But I made a nice sheet so that, in theory, well, we'll move this battery, put you guys down. In theory, I can, drill the holes, mount this plate, focus on that, mount this plate, put the vents in, and then it'll be a clean, I would say, well, if you want to focus, there you go. I think it'll be a cleaner install, just in case the vinyl, because that's all that's wrapped with, wants to say pull back, because that would be bad. It'll start showing the vents, so on and so forth. So at least this way I can install that, only cut the size I need, and the bar, it'll basically be hidden, the cut marks. I don't know, a little more thought than just punching holes and putting these vents in. Also, these vents might just be temporary because I screwed up. I ordered an 1 3/4 inch instead of a 2-inch. So, well, scratch that. They are temporary. I have new ones on order to rectify that situation. Problem being, well, it's, Wednesday is when I'll get them, something like that. Doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt fire up or, using of the system. But let me get this thing in the air, show you the, aftermath of the wiring and everything else that we've done, and start tightening lines. Did I leave the flashlight in there? Because that would be my doing. Yes, I did. Come here, I need you. All right, let's show you the underside of all the calamity that went on. The front's not that important because we ran it about the same. I don't know if I've shown this already, but, or at least underside. Fan switch, that's connected. High pressure line, low pressure line. I'm pretty sure. Everything up here. I mean, room starts to become a premium, but all the wires come out of the bulkhead back there. Again, I got to seal up the bulkhead, make sure it's not leaking. But our main wire that runs forward, again, like I said, I use those harnesses for a reason. Oh no, there was a black wire in there. I used brown for black. I didn't realize I cut the black wire short when I did my initial count. That's on me. I was out in the sun too. Good. But anyway, again, that wire runs all the way forward. We got to zip tie it, make sure she's nice and pretty, and it'll be good there. But as of right now, it is good where it is. Yeah, I just got to chase it backwards. It's just loose fitted. Yeah, it comes all the way up through the cab like it should, and it'll be nice and pretty. We got to put the splash pad back on. But all right, let me start tightening the lines down here, buttoning up everything with zip ties. There's only 2 lines down here that I got to tighten on the condenser. Tighten them up, zip tie the lines up. Compressor side, that's already tight because I wanted to make sure those things were going to live where they were going to live, so that's good. The only thing I have left electrical wise is just to connect the battery, that main log. I need more. I'm waiting on FedEx, so I haven't made a run yet. I was hoping they'd be here. Waiting more on these clamps so I can keep that wiring harness off of the engine and kind of where I want it to stay. So I get the bottom side button up, then I don't know, put that shield in for the vents, and I guess we're ready to fire this unit up. I gotta get Freon. That's another thing I gotta get. I have 2 cans, and I don't know if 2 cans is enough. I don't know. We'll charge it with that and see what happens. See where we get. But I do need to vac down the system first to make sure that, well, obviously it's holding and I don't have any leaks. So let me start tightening connections, zip tying some stuff, and I'll be back with the next information that I'm doing, I guess. All right, guys. Here's what I got going on. Whew. Besides sweating my butt off. Mistakes that were made, like I said, on ordering. So rectification of that should hopefully be here this week. But to do what we do, not a big deal. Don't worry about the mess. It'll be cleaned up. Plates in, vents are ran. Everything's sealed. And those tubes are just kind of, well, they're there. Everything's tight. Back there, as far as I can tell. Lines, boxes secured to the ground, so on and so forth. Make sure you put in your drain lines. If you don't, well, you're going to make a puddle on your floor, by the way. All right. Gonna get this thing up in the air. Pull a vacuum on the system. Make sure, well, it doesn't leak. And then we'll charge it. Yeah, and then we'll put a charge in the thing. Whew, man, it is warm. I know I feel like I complain about the heat a lot, but I do because, well, it's hot. All right. You guys can go there. Rolly chair, come here. So all the science I have going on right now. Oh! Ooh. Off. You don't need to vacuum yet. It's getting antsy. But yeah, make sure you want to do it obviously with a vacuum pump. Can you charge the system without vacuuming it down? You can. I have. I think one of my videos I've done it just because, well, I didn't feel like vacuuming it down and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. This, optimally, you want to vac down the system. The reason for vacuuming down the system is twofold. One, you can check pressures, make sure if you have a leak or so on and so forth. Two, and a more important thing is your that felt weird. You're basically in a vacuum, you're boiling basically the air or any moisture out. So that's mainly why you put it under a vacuum, is to get any moisture out of the system so that you have clean, basically clean refrigerant going into it. You'll be fine there. That's good, that's good, that's good. Open. Open the Schrader. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. When I, was taking all the components off, the caps off, the condenser off, basically everything was pressurized. So everything was under a vacuum. It wasn't like pressurized like PSI positive as PSI negative. So that tells me that at least all these components were holding a charge. All right, throw a vacuum on this, see what happens. It would help if I opened it and not closed it. All right. You can see we're sucking down. See the vapor maybe coming out of that. That's just burn off. So we are getting moisture out of the system immediately, which is good. So let me let that sit. It's gonna run for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna get all the air out of it. In the meantime, we're gonna hook up the negative and positive on the battery. You don't need to see that. I forgot, I made my runs, I got my my 134, all that stuff. I forgot to get clamps. So I think I'm just gonna lay that cable in front of the engine for now before I can secure it to the back, due to the fact that this thing is rated for, I think, 60 amps. We got a 90 amp alternator. So I am going to need the engine, well, number one, I wanna make sure the engine's gonna be able to support it power-wise, but I need to make sure I can't basically run it off of my jump box, because I think, let's see, I got a choice between 15 amp and I think both of my Solstice and my Harbor Freighter 15 ampers. I got 15 and 20 amp at my disposal. I'm shy, so no matter what I do, it'd be the compressor would be pulling too much for it. So, like I said, we're slowly chooching down. Stop smoking. So let me let this thing sit. I'll connect those cables, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, you'll see me either with a or with hey, we're gonna put a charge in this thing. So I'll be back. All right, guys, we're under vacuum. It's holding at -30, at least to my gauge. Hasn't moved. Compressor is connected. I have a flashy green light. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a flashy green light. I don't know what that means, but it's doing something. That means there's power, I guess. All right, what I'm gonna do now, fire this thing up and get it to idle and run. Because like I said, I need the alternator to alternate. So, let's see what she sounds like. Everything currently in here is off because I don't want it to do anything. All right, key on, fired up. All right, stalling pressure, I'm gonna put a can in it right now, or as much of a can as I can without it. Also, it's gonna smoke a little bit because the new exhaust. Obviously, we haven't driven this thing yet, but I'm gonna dump a can in just to pre-charge this thing. I don't know if there's a low pressure switch or not. All right, can's connected. There's 60 PSI in the system right now. turn it all the way to thing, and let's kick it on. It's on. I forgot to connect the wires under there. It's chooching. That flashing green light went off, so maybe that's a good thing. Well, that can sucks on stuff. Where's my voltmeter? I just want to see what we're putting out voltage-wise, obviously. Whew, she is taxing that alternator. But the gen light's not on, so we're going okay. That's running. Let me see if the fan's running underneath. Where's my other flashlight? Starting to blow cold. Oh yeah. Fan's running on the bottom side, so that's going to do its job. I'm going to keep putting cans in. It's probably going to take, I'm going to go with 2 and see where we're at with that and check our temperature. All right, guys. It's night. Well, let's ping something else. See how hot it is in the shop. Floor is 90. We're about 95 in the shop. Just 95, 96 in the shop. I'm sitting on the high side of the pressure of the low side, which is about 55 for about the temperature. I shut the doors. It is blowing, well, cooler air. But let me get a quick reference before I button this thing up and see what difference. I mean, I can feel the cool air. We are sitting in here, 91. So, these door seals. I'm gonna shut this, let it idle for a bit. See what it, I wonder how well that top's gonna seal, because that has a rag top on it. See what it can bring it down to. But it's doing fine. It's just been idling. It hasn't missed a beat yet. Still got to button everything up. I think that would be our last episode that we're gonna do before we take it on a test drive. I was gonna do a test drive in this episode, but it's been dragging out so long and I still need to edit this video. So let me give it a minute. Like I said, pressures are holding. We're sitting still at maybe a little under 55. So stuff's doing things. Unless I blew a line. I don't think so. I haven't seen an explosion yet. But like I said, let me just let this thing idle and we'll check it in a few minutes. All right, guys, real quick. Still chugging along, still sounding good. Pressures are dropping. We're about 45 now. But you can tell it's doing a thing. Due to the fact that the condensation pipes are condensating piping. So I don't know if you can tell, but we have water coming out of them. So it is cooling. Stop. Or at least that the box is doing its job. I want to see what the pressures are, and well, you figure this whole thing's like 90 something degrees. So, oh, I threw my wall thermometer in there. That was at 80, which was lying. It's about 5 off. So it's been sealed up. What are we at? Oh, I mean, it was at 90. It's at 80 now. About, so figure 70 something degrees. But yeah, I'm happy to see it's condensating. Pressures are going down. I might add just a little bit more. But yeah, as you can tell, we're sitting at 80 in there. Pretty sure we're gonna have to do with my laser. Because my laser is gonna pick up, is it in there? I don't know what I did with it. The laser's gonna pick up sheet metal or whatever I ping it off of. So if the car hasn't cooled, who's texting me? If the car hasn't cooled, it, like the metal, it'll still be that temperature. I'm looking for my thermos. Where did I put it? Oh, it is nice and cool in here. Yeah, it's definitely doing its job. Door seals are new. Shit. Beep beep. What'd I do with it? I don't know. But at least that's in there, and it's going down in temp. Like I said, it's 80 in there now as far as ambient, which is, I mean, you can tell it's quite delightful. Although I don't know what I did with my laser thermometer. Shit. Anywho's, oh, there it is. Let's see what this is pinging at. All right, we'll just go off that. 84. So that's 5 off. So yeah, it's 85 in here, 84 in here. Yeah, the whole cab's 84. The vents are blowing roughly the vents are roughly blowing 84 apparently. Yeah, vents are blowing 80. It is a hot day. Gonna put just a little bit more of a charge in there, see what's going on, and hopefully get it down a little lower. Like I said, getting a temperature off of that is completely different than using like a meat probe or that. So give me a minute, see where we're at, and shut it down. But hasn't missed a beat. It's been idling great. All right, guys, still idling. I got all the cans in, hovering at 50 on the low side, which is right within spec of what you want on a low side on a, what, 97 degree shop. And there we go, metal. 96 degrees in here. So we're sitting at 80 on the gauge. So it's gonna be, oh, it is nice in here. Yeah, about 82. 15 degree shift is about what you are about to expect. It's blowing 78 degree air. That's more than fine. Definitely will take the heat off of on a hot day. But let me get all this stuff disconnected. Yeah, you can tell she's doing her job under there. It's sweating pretty bad. But let me get all this stuff disconnected. And yeah, close out this video. Next video should be buttoning everything up and taking it for, man, it is nice in here, and taking it for a test drive. Oh, I didn't even have the thing on all the way on the temp side. Hold, please. My temperature knob was in the middle, so I don't know if the compressor was cycling or not. I've just been watching pressures. But it might get colder, it might not, I don't know. But what I'm getting at is, let me shut everything down and we'll close out this video. I don't know how informative it was, but I mean, the bus, like I said, it's running great right now. It's been idling for, hell, about 30 minutes. So, let me close this out. Yep, real quick, I was an idiot. Always put your temperature level on the smallest or the lowest level. But our vents now, if I can get in there, are reading, they're dropping down to 73. Hold on, see if I can get in there. 67, 64, 61. Yeah, I don't know if it'll focus. 61. I was an idiot. All right, that'll drive. This is cool, nicely. But yeah, next video, we'll do the cleanup, but let me button this thing up. All right, guys, closing out this episode on Moonbeam. I was trying to get it on the road today. Not gonna happen with the schedule, the heat, some fat thing falling on my roof, that's fine. With schedule, the heat, the install time took a little longer than I expected, routing everything, so on and so forth. Can't just knock everything out, also with the expectation of, you know, delivering it to the quality that I would want it to be. With that said though, next episode, because there will be one, is gonna be buttoning up everything I have not done on this thing. You know, cleaning up the inside. I gotta put more vents in that box. I'll show you why. Basically, it's gonna be a recirc instead of having that seat up, because if it's a closed box, it won't be able to, you know, it's just gonna circulate its own air. It's terrible. Gotta put vents in there, button up the engine bay. I got that tray I gotta still put on. Little odds and ends, and mainly take it out for a drive. Make sure this thing is as good as I hope it is, so that the customers can enjoy it for a while. It sat here and idled for at least 30, 45 minutes running this air conditioning, didn't miss a beat, was happy. So other than raising the temperature in the shop exponentially, it's good. So if you like this episode, whatever it came out to, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you do. I promise you we will chit chat as always. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you on the next one where we finally get to drive this thing, because I still haven't driven it. It could be terrible. I don't know. Thanks, guys.